I never thought I'd wake up hating the man I loved more than my own reflection. But there I was, crammed into Ethan's 6'3" frame, his cologne choking me like a noose, staring down at hands that had signed away my future without a second thought. And the worst part? In that moment, as his heart, my heart now, pounded with stolen rage, I realized the swap wasn't an accident. It was his masterpiece of revenge, and mine was just beginning. It started with a kiss in the boardroom, the kind that seals deals and breaks souls. Ethan Hale, the golden boy of Seattle's AI scene, had promised me the world, co-founder credits, equity in Neuralink, our baby that promised to rewrite human connection. But when the prototype glitched during the demo, frying a volunteer's neural pathways and leaving him catatonic, Ethan pinned it all on me. Brinley tampered with the code. He lied to the board, his voice smooth as Pacific fog. I took the fall because I loved him, because I believed in us, because confessing his hack, the one he'd done to juice the metrics, would have tanked everything we'd built. Prison was my sentence. 5 years in a Washington state facility, branded a reckless innovator who'd played God with brains. But Ethan? He thrived. Neuralink skyrocketed. Valuations hit billions. And he became the face of ethical AI. TED Talks and all, while I rotted in a cell block that smelled like regret and bleach. The secret he buried? That glitch wasn't just a mistake. It was murder. The volunteer, a whistleblower who'd caught Ethan siphoning funds to offshore accounts, ended up volunteering to test the beta. Ethan had rigged it to silence him, and I covered for him because the evidence was in my name, my logins, my signatures. Deep betrayal doesn't come with fanfare. It creeps in like damp rot, until your foundation crumbles. By the time I got out, 3 years early on good behavior, the world had moved on. Seattle's skyline glittered with Neuralink towers, Ethan's face on every billboard preaching seamless souls. I was Brinley Voss, ex-con, blacklisted from tech, crashing on a cousin's couch in Capitol Hill, scraping by on gig economy scraps. But Ethan reached out, all charm and contrition. Let me make it right. One last project. It was a body swap trial. Cutting-edge neural transference, souls digitized and reloaded into fresh vessels. Controversial as hell. FDA on the fence. But Ethan pitched it as therapy for the terminally ill. For me, redemption arc. Swap into a proxy body for a month. Recalibrate my neural scars from prison stress. Sounded like bullshit, but the payout, enough to start over, hooked me. We met at the lab on a stormy October night, rain lashing the floor-to-ceiling windows like accusations. Ethan, in his tailored wool, looked every inch the mogul, sharp jaw, eyes like polished obsidian. Trust me, Bryn, he murmured, strapping me into the pod, his fingers lingering on my wrist. The machine hummed to life, a symphony of beeps and whispers, and I felt my essence uncoil, memories, fears, the ache of betrayal streaming into the ether. Then, blackout. When I came to, the world tilted. I was heavier, broader, my voice a gravelly baritone echoing in my skull. I bolted upright, heart slamming, and there he was, my body, my curves, my hazel eyes, blinking at me from the adjacent pod with a smirk that wasn't mine. What the fuck? Ethan? I growled, but it came out as his timbre, deep and commanding. He and me stretched languidly, running hands over hips that used to be mine. Perfect, he purred in my soprano. You always said we were soulmates. Now we're one. The swap wasn't therapy. It was his escape hatch.
See?
The feds were closing in, SEC probes into Neuralink's books. Whispers of the whistleblower's accident. Ethan needed a clean slate, a body untainted by subpoenas and spotlights. Mine was perfect, disgraced, disposable. He'd live my life on the lam, jetting to Dubai with my face, while I drowned in his sinking ship, board meetings, investor calls, the noose of accountability tightening around his neck. But he underestimated me. Prison teaches you knots, and I was already unraveling his. I stumbled out of the pod, legs like tree trunks, crashing into a console that sparked and died. Alarms wailed, red lights pulsing like a migraine. Ethan in my skin laughed, a tinkling sound that twisted my gut. Don't fight it, darling. The transference is locked for 30 days. By then, I'll be gone, and you'll be, well,
you.
The CEO who finally cracked under pressure. He leaned in, breath hot on his ear. Maybe you'll even take the fall for the swap. Unauthorized neural hijack? That's a life sentence. Rage boiled up, hot and unfamiliar in this borrowed vessel. I grabbed his arm, my arm, and twisted, hard enough to bruise. You stole my life once. Not again. He wrenched free. My eyes, flashing defiance. Security burst in. Tasers drawn. But Ethan played the victim flawlessly. She's lost it. Call the cops. They dragged me away, cuffing wrists that felt wrong.
Too thick.
As they hauled me to holding, I caught his wink over his shoulder.
Game on.
That night, in a Neuralink guest suite, ironic, right? I plotted. Ethan's body came with perks. Biometrics unlocked every door. His phone a vault of sins. Emails to shell companies. Voice memos plotting the whistleblower's demise. A glitch is kinder than a bullet. The secret he'd buried deepest? Our unborn child. I'd miscarried in prison. Stress from the trial. And he'd known, hell. He'd celebrated it as one less complication. That hit like a gut punch. Even in this shell.
But it fueled me.
Revenge isn't clean. It's a slow bleed. First move. Controversial as sin. I accessed the lab's dark web forums. Ethan's browser history was a pervert's paradise, and leaked a teaser of the swap tech. Not the full schematics. Just enough to stir the pot. Neuralink CEO swaps souls to dodge fraud? Forums exploded. Soul swap scandal trending by dawn. Pundits on CNN called it the ultimate white-collar escape. Ethicists decried it as playing Frankenstein with consent. Ethan, in my body, called oppressor, denying everything, his voice cracking just right for sympathy. But the damage was done. Stock dipped 8%. Investors jittery. He retaliated swift. By noon, I, Brinley Voss, ex-con, was painted as the madwoman. Tabloids screamed, jailbird stalker targets tech titan. Cops showed up at the safe house. But Ethan's face, my face now, flashed the charm, and they left with apologies. I holed up, hacking his calendar with his own fingerprints. Next week, gala in Vegas. Schmoozing Saudi princes for bailout cash. Perfect stage for Act 2. But doubt crept in. This body. It whispered temptations. Power surges when I barked orders at assistants. The way heads turned. Was this me? Or him? Prison had stripped my confidence, now. In his skin, I felt invincible. A mirror check, his chiseled features, my haunted eyes staring back. Who was the monster? The one who'd betrayed? Or the one plotting to burn it all down? Day 5. And the tension coiled tighter. Ethan's empire was fracturing. Protests outside HQ. Employees jumping ship. He messaged from my burner. Stop this.
Bryn.
We can swap back early. BS again.
Lies.
I knew the code. He didn't. But I played along, meeting him at a derelict pier in Fremont. Waves crashing like accusations. He arrived in my sundress, hair tousled by wind, looking vulnerable, too vulnerable. I love you, he said, stepping close. My heart, his heart, lurched. For a second, I saw the boy I'd fallen for. The one who'd sketched Neuralink on napkins in a dive bar. Then he lunged, syringe glinting, permanent neural blocker, to trap me forever. I sidestepped, his bulk making me clumsy, and shoved him into the drink. He surfaced sputtering, my face twisted in rage. You bitch, he shrieked. I laughed, his baritone booming over the surf. That's my line. As sirens wailed, anonymous tip, I walked away, leaving him to explain a drowned Brinley Voss to the cops. Controversial? Drowning your own body in a lover's betrayal? Yeah. The courts would eat it up. Back at the tower, I escalated. Using his voice, I wired funds, millions, to whistleblower families. Anonymous donations with receipts attached to Ethan's name. SEC loved that. Raids hit by midnight. His board turned, calling emergency votes. I watched from his penthouse, scotch in hand, his brand, peaty and pretentious, as news helicopters buzzed like vultures. But the high faded. Nightmares plagued me, waking in his bed, sheets tangled, feeling phantom kicks from the child we'd lost. Was revenge healing? Or just another cage? Week 2 dawned with a bang. My lawyers filed for involuntary commitment. Brinley Voss exhibits dissociative identity disorder post-incarceration.
Cute.
They dragged me to a psych eval. Shrinks probing with questions that cut deep. Do you feel like yourself, Mr. Hale? I snarled back. More than I ever did. But crack showed. In the mirror, his stubble itched, a reminder of the lie. I miss my curves, the sway of hips in heels, the way Seattle rain fell on my skin. This body was a prison of its own, broader and colder. I broke out, bribed a nurse with Ethan's crypto wallet. A cool $500,000 vanishing into ether. On the run, I hit the underground, hackers in Belltown basements, tweaking the swap code. You want early reversal? The kid with blue hair asked, eyes gleaming. Risky. Could fry your synapses. Controversial decision numero dos. Roll the dice. I greenlit it, lying on a futon amid pizza boxes. Machine whirring like a deranged blender. Pain lanced through, fire in veins. Memories colliding, my trial, his affairs. The glitches scream. Then, clarity. I was still me, in him. But the code was primed, one command, and we'd flip. Ethan in my flesh was cornered, holed up in a Malibu safe house. Paparazzi swarming like locusts. I flew commercial, his jet too hot, landed under alias. Rented a beater sedan that smelled like regret. Drove through canyons at dusk. Radio droning scandals. Hale's empire crumbles amid soul swap allegations. I parked a mile out, hiked in under cover of chaparral. Heart, his heart, thudding with purpose. The house loomed, modernist glass and steel, waves crashing below like a dirge. He was waiting on the deck, my body frilier in the sea wind, cigarette trembling between fingers. "You came," he said, my voice, hoarse. To end it, I stepped closer, the bulk of him making floorboards creak. "To watch you beg." We circled, cats in a cage. He spilled it all then. The buried truth. The whistleblower wasn't random. He'd been my brother, Jake. Estranged since college, sniffing too close to Ethan's embezzlement. "I did it for us," Ethan pleaded. "The money, the future. Lies again." Jake had warned me about him years ago. I'd ignored it for love. Climax hit like a rogue wave. I pulled the trigger, metaphorically, uploading the full evidence dump, logs, memos, the swap contract forged in my name. Feds stormed in minutes later, choppers thumping overhead. Ethan lunged, nails raking his face, drawing blood that tasted like copper betrayal. We grappled, tumbling over the rail, hanging by fingertips as agent shouted. "Swap us back," he screamed. I dangled there, his weight pulling, and whispered the code into his ear. Activation hummed through us both, neural fire, souls tearing free. Twist came mid-fall, as essences recoiled. I saw it. The swap hadn't locked me in him. It had merged us. Flashes, his childhood abuse. The fear driving his schemes, my complicity. Signing off on risky tests for glory. We weren't stolen souls. We were two halves of the same rot. He wasn't the villain, we both were. The glitch? My idea. To cut corners. Jake's death? I'd known the risks. We hit the surf together. Bodies thrashing. Mine reclaimed. His abandoned. Agents fished us out. Headlines screaming lovers' fatal swap. Murder-suicide or justice? I washed up on shore. Coughing seawater. My curves aching like homecoming. Ethan? Comatose. Brain fried from the merge. Courts debated. Manslaughter. Or self-defense in a war of identities. I walked. Controversial plea. Citing duress and rebuilt. Neuralink's ruins funding ethical AI for trauma survivors. But in quiet nights, Seattle rain pattering. I wonder, did I win? Or just swap one ghost for another? Revenge tastes like salt, and the debate rages on in me. The merge lingered like a bad trip, echoes of Ethan's paranoia buzzing in my skull. I'd reclaimed my body. Yeah, petite frame, freckles across the nose. The works, but his whispers haunted. You're just like me.
Bryn.
Always were. Bullshit. I told myself. Toweling off in that sterile Malibu yar. Nurses fluttering like concerned crows. But the doubt? It rooted deep. Tendrils wrapping my resolve. Prison had taught me survival. It taught me the blur between victim and villain. Feds grilled me for hours. Fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets. MS. Voss. You expect us to believe Hale orchestrated a body swap to evade fraud. Special Agent Ruiz. A no-nonsense Latina with a stare like laser sights.
Leaned in.
I recounted it all. The betrayal. The pod. The peer dunking. Omitted the merge. Of course, that'd land me in a psych ward faster than you could say conspiracy theory. They bought enough. Ethan's servers yielded gold. Wire transfers to Cayman trusts. Jake's medical file stamped test subject, deceased. My brother.
God.
The guilt hit fresh. A knife twist. I'd buried that too. Told myself it was for the greater good.
Now.
Staring at my reflection, hazel eyes shadowed, Lips bruised from the fight, I saw complicity etched in every line. They released me at dawn, slapped a gag order, and shoved me toward a waiting cab. Stay in the country, Ruiz warned. This ain't over. Over? It was just intermission. Ethan clung to life in ICU. Machines beeping his fragile empire. Neuralink's board ousted him posthumously, well, presumptively, and circled like sharks, offering me a settlement, $50 mill to sign an NDA and vanish. Controversial? Taking blood money from the beast I'd helped birth. I signed, pocketed the check, and vanished anyway, not to some island, but back to Seattle. Ground zero. The city greeted me like an ex, familiar, unforgiving. Capitol Hill walks. Coffee shops humming with baristas who once eyed me warily post-prison.
Now?
Whispers followed. That's her. The swap girl. Social media was a bonfire. Brinley betrayed trending. Half hailing me as avenging angel. Half crucifying me as opportunistic gold digger. Pundits on Fox called it the downfall of woke tech. MSNBC spun empowerment through exposure. I ignored it. Holing up in a Rainier Valley walk-up. Walls thin as promises. First-order therapy. Real this time. Dr. Lena, a black woman with a voice like warm gravel, didn't flinch at the soul swap tale. Trauma's a thief, she said. But you're the one holding the lock now. Nights blurred into strategy sessions. Revenge Phase 2. Dismantle from within. Ethan's merge had gifted me fragments, passwords, backdoors. The kind of intel that makes hackers weep. I doxed his inner circle anonymously, the CFO skimming R&D, the PR shark bearing abuse claims from female coders. Leaks hit Vice. The Stranger. Igniting purges. Neuralink stock cratered 40%. Layoffs rippling like aftershocks. I watched from dive bars. Nursing IPAs. A ghost in my own skin. But power's addictive, soon. I was fielding calls from venture vultures, dangling my insider story for seed money. Ethical AI startup, Voss Neural, focused on consent-locked interfaces. Ironic, right? Building safeguards on the bones of our sins. Ethan woke on day 14, groggy and accusatory, demanding his lawyers. I visited, against advice, slipping past security with a forged badge. ICU smelled of antiseptic lies. Monitors charting his shallow breaths. He looked small in my old body.
No.
Wait, docs had reversed the swap surgically post-arrest. Neural scrub to stabilize. He was back in his lanky frame, tubes snaking like accusations. Brinley, he rasped, eyes fluttering. We can fix this. Marry me. Legacy. I laughed, bitter as black coffee. Legacy? You mean laundering your crimes through my name? I leaned in, voice low. Jake knew, didn't he, about the affair? The money. He came to me first, his face crumpled guilt. Or calculation. It was business. He threatened everything. Business. My brother. Dead for business. I gripped the rail. Knuckles white. Controversial urge. Yank the plug. Watch the flatline. Instead, I whispered, rot in yours. Walked out to headlines. Hail awake. Vows full cooperation. Cooperation my ass. He lawyered up. Spinning tales of my coercion. Tabloids flipped. Was Brinley the mastermind? Tension peaked at the gala I'd crashed in his body, Vegas Redux. But now as me. Neuralink's Phoenix fundraiser. Black tie schmooze in the Bellagio's opulence. I crashed it uninvited. Red dress clinging like second skin, hair pinned fierce. Heads turned, murmurs swelled. On stage, interim CEO droned platitudes, innovation through adversity. I seized the mic mid-speech, heart hammering. Adversity? Try betrayal. Spotlights blinded. Crowd hushed. I unloaded, the glitch. Jake's murder. The swap. Gasps rippled. Phones lit up. Live streaming Armageddon. Security swarmed, but not before viral gold. Truth from the pod. Backlash hit like monsoon. Supporters crowdfunded my legal defense. Haters doxed my address. Eggs splattering windows by midnight. Ethan sued for defamation, claiming delusional fabrications. Courts waffled, controversial rulings delaying trials. Ethicists debating neural privacy. I thrived on the chaos. Voss neural bootstrapping with angel investors drawn to the drama. But cracks widened. Dreams merged us again, his hands on my throat, my screams in his voice.
Dr.
Lena probed. Is this justice or punishment? I had no answer. Week 3. The hidden secret surfaced, not buried by Ethan.
But me.
Digging through old drives, I found it. Jake's email. Pre-glitch. Sis. Hail sturdy. Back out now. I'd deleted the chain. Forged the logs to protect the project. For love. For ambition. The crime I'd borne? It was half mine. Twist nod. Was revenge for him. Or absolution for me. I confronted Ethan in county lockup. Plexiglass between us like the walls we'd built. We kill him together, I said. He smirked. Weak but wicked. And you'll kill yourself chasing ghosts. Climax brewed in a rainy Seattle courtroom. Preliminary hearing under gray skies, leaking regret. Protesters clashed outside, pro-hail suits versus. Justice for Jake Pickett's. I testified. Voice steady. Laying bare the swap's mechanics. Pods.
Codes.
The merge's forbidden glimpse. Jurors leaned in. Faces a mosaic of shock and skepticism. Ethan's team cross-examined Vicious. MS. Voss. Isn't it true you initiated the transference? Seeking to usurp Mr. Hale's position. Lies. Twisted truths. I faltered. His echo in my head, just like me. Then. The drop. Forensic neural scan from the reversal. Proving merge residue. Shared memories. Synaptic scars. Judge gasped. Gallery erupted. This changes everything, she murmured. Ethan paled. Empire evaporating. But as cuffs clicked on him tighter, he locked eyes. You feel it, don't you? The pull. I did. Walking free. Rain soaking my coat. I felt the weight not lighter, but shared. Voss neural launched quietly. A non-profit arm aiding swap victims, hypothetical.
For now.
Supporters hailed closure. Critics called it whitewashing.
Me?
I debated it nightly. Bourbon-burning truths. Happy ending? If erasing ghosts counts. But in America's grind, where tech gods fall and rise on scandals, maybe the real revenge is living with the merge. 2 souls. 1 scarred hole. Living with the merge meant compromises I never signed up for. Voss Neural's offices, a converted warehouse in Pioneer Square. Exposed brick and server hum became my bunker. Walls papered with blueprints for ethical transference. Donors poured in. Drawn to the redemption narrative, fallen founder rises from betrayal's ashes. But mirrors lied. Every glance showed Ethan's shadow in my smile. a crooked tilt I'd never had.
DR.
Lena called it integrative haunting. I called it bullshit, but popped the pills anyway, SSRIs to dull the echo. Seattle autumn deepened, leaves rotting underfoot like unspoken sins. Jake's memorial loomed, a small affair at Green Lake. Family I'd ghosted post-prison.
Mom.
Silver-haired and sharp-tongued, hugged me stiff. He'd be proud.
Bryn.
Or horrified, ambiguous as my dreams. Nightly, the merge replayed, his father's belt cracking, my cell block shivs glinting, traumas braided tight. Waking sweat-soaked, I'd pace, phone in hand, tempted to call Ethan's lawyer. Tell him I forgive, or tell him I'll bury him deeper. Delete, repeat. Business amped the tension. Investors pushed for scale. Swap tech could revolutionize therapy, PTSD swaps. Empathy training. Controversial? Hell yes. Ethicists picketed our doors. Signs screaming, souls aren't software. I debated on podcasts. Voice pitched confident. Consent is king. We're building safeguards Hale never did. Listeners ate it up. But trolls unearthed my past, prison psych evals labeling me manipulative narcissist. Echoes of him. One night, post-debate high, I hooked up with a journalist tall, bearded, eyes like safe harbors. Woke regretting. His scent triggering Ethan's cologne ghosts. This is mine, I whispered to the ceiling. But was it? Ethan's trial prep leaked like a sieve. Feds offered me immunity for full testimony. His team countered with hush money. I played both. Feeding tips to prosecutors, offshore logs, swap co-conspirators. Leaks painted him monstrous, headlines, tech tyrant's soul-stealing scheme. Stockpiling evidence felt like stacking kindling. But the fire? It warmed and scorched. Protests swelled. A bomb threat evacuated our office. FBI sniffing for my involvement. Stay clean, Voss, Ruiz phoned. Or you're next.
Clean?
In this mud? Mid-November. The antagonist struck back from his cell. A deepfake video dropped. Me. In Ethan's body. Ranting racist tirades at a board meeting. AI generated. Seamless, his tech. Twisted. It went nuclear. Brinley bigot trended. Sponsors fled.
DR.
Lena quit. This isn't haunting. It's haunting you back, she texted. I traced it to his prison tablet, smuggled access. Rage surged. Pure me. I visited, demanding plexiglass confrontation. Petty. Ethan. Deepfakes? That's your A-game? He leaned in, breath fogging glass. You merged us.
Bryn.
My moves are yours now. Chill spidered, he was right. The video's cadence? My sarcasm. Amplified. Controversial pivot. I weaponized it. Hired forensic AI, irony, to debunk. Countering with a live demo. Real-time deepfake detection. Voss Neural's flagship. Presser in our lobby. Cameras flashing like accusations. This is what betrayal looks like, I said. Screen shattering the vid pixel by pixel. Crowd cheered. Stocks rebounded. But victory soured. That night, alone with takeout foe and true crime docs, the merge confessed I'd greenlit Jake's test. Fudged consents for the demo's sake. My crime. Born for ambition. Tears came. Hot and unbidden. First since prison. Climax brewed federal. Ethan's arraignment. Federal courthouse a circus. Rain lashed marble steps. Protesters chanting lock him up versus free the innovator. I testified last. Sworn in under eagle eyes. Dress sharp. Voice steel. Detailed the swap. The murder. Our twisted tango. Jurors nodded. Ethan fidgeted. Cuffed and cornered. Cross-exam hit hard. A mess.
Voss.
Emails show you authored the glitch code. Accomplice. Hart stuttered, his echo laughing. I owned it. Yes. For love. For the lie we sold. Gallery gasped, twist landed. Not just his villainy, ours. Judge adjourned. Bail denied. Post-hearing, High crashed into isolation. Mom hosted Thanksgiving, turkey dry, wine flowing. Cousins probed. You okay? Bryn?
Look.
Haunted. I deflected with startup tales, but Jake's empty chair screamed. Later. Buzzed on Merlot. I drove to the lab ruins, Neuralink shuttered. Pod scrapped. Climbed the fence. Rain soaking. And screamed into void. We killed him. Echoes mocked. Then. Phone buzz, Ruiz. Hale's talking plea. Wants you at the table. Controversial decision 3. Negotiate. Meet in neutral, fancy hotel suite. Downtown gloss masking grit. He arrived shackled, gaunt in orange. End this, he rasped. Joint custody of the narrative. I laughed. Narrative? You stole my soul. We bargained. He cops to murder. I bury the merge. But eyes locked. And the pull hit, merge firing. Memories sinking. Flash. Our first kiss. Real and raw. We were good once, he whispered. I nodded. Throat tight. Signed the deal. Walked out lighter? Or chained. December chill bit. Holidays loomed like indictments. Voss neural hit milestones. Beta tests for empathy sims. No swaps. Just shadows. Media crowned me Phoenix. I posed for Forbes. Smile practiced. But nights? Merged dreams evolved. Not fights. But fusions us coding late. Laughing over bugs. Forgiveness? Or Stockholm? Ethan's plea dropped charges to manslaughter. Sentencing loomed Valentine's. Poetic cruelty. Ending neared. Debatable as dawn. I debated testifying impact. Hale destroyed me. Or, we destroyed each other. Truth reversed. Not revenge's triumph, but mutual unmaking. Happy? If scars scar pretty. Tragic? If ghosts co-parent. America loves the spin. I lived the blur. Sentencing day dawned brittle. Seattle's winter sun mocking with weak gold. Courthouse swelled. Activists in justice for Jake tease. Hale loyalists in suits starch stiff. I slipped in back row. Anonymous in wool cap and shades. Heart mine. Fully a drum solo. Ethan stood tallish in the dock. Plea deals shaved years. 10 for manslaughter. Fraud concurrent. Judge. A silver fox with gavel gravitas. Intoned. Mr. Hale. Your innovations promised connection. Instead, they severed lives. Impact statements queued. Whistleblower kin. Sobbing Jake's name. Ex-employees. Voices cracking on harassment buried. My turn loomed. Subpoenaed as key witness. Stomach nodded. Merge murmured mercy. Up there. Under lights hot as interrogation. I gripped podium. Ethan Hale didn't just steal my body. I started. Voice steady. He stole my complicity. Gasps. Pen scratched. I spilled the reverse truth. My code tweaks. Deleted warnings. The ambition that greased Jake's slide into that pod. I bore the fall because I helped dig the grave. Juror tears. Ethan's had bowed, not remorse. But release? Revenge. I continued. I sought it in leaks. In takedowns. But the real twist? Swapping souls showed me mine was half the poison. Gavel cracked recess. Media mobbed post-hearing. Brinley Voss, victim or villain? Headline screamed by evening. Debates ignited. Reddit threads dissecting, was it mutual murder? Twitter polls, 52% she got justice, 48% co-defendant cop-out. I ghosted it all. Driving winding 99 to the coast. Waves gnashing like unresolved chords. Pulled over at Deception Pass. Wind whipping. And hurled my old Neuralink badge into surf. Catharsis? Or concession? Ethan shipped to McNeil Island. Ironic. Waterlocked like our peer fight. He wrote once. Letter smudged. The merge saved me. Thank you. Burned it. Ashes scattering like doubts. Voss Neural thrived modest. Grants for neural ethics curricula. Partnerships with psych orgs. No swaps, ever. I mentored young coders. Girls with fire in their fingers. Warning, power's a swap waiting to happen. Guard your code. They nodded. Eyes wide. I saw Jake in them. Unscarred. Spring thawed the freeze. Mom's birthday bash, backyard barbecue. Salmon grilling. Cousins ribbing. I showed. Present. Bottle of his favorite scotch. For Jake, I toasted. Laughter flowed. Real as rain. Dated sporadically, a barista with tattoos. A prof with kind eyes. No merges. Just mornings tangled simple. But the debatable ending? It lingered. Happy. Empire ashes birth something pure. Tragic. Ghosts co-author every line. One dusk. Hiking Discovery Park. Phone buzzed unknown. Ruiz. Hale's appeal denied. He's done. Relief washed. Salty as tears. Sat on bluff. City sprawl below. Towers twinkling. Promises and pitfalls. We did this, I whispered to wind. Not just revenge, reckoning. America debates. Hero's arc or villain's echo. I walk the gray. Body mine. Soul stitched whole. And that's the twist. No reversal needed. Just forward.
Flawed. Free.